Hello, folks. How's it going? Right, I've just finished watching the first episode of Lovecraft Country, and I got mixed feelings. I got mixed feelings. I liked a lot of the mystery, um, but I think it was a little bit slow moving, and it was very involved in stuff that I wasn't really bothered about. Um, Basically, anyway, the story. If you don't want to know anything about this show, then don't listen to this. I'm not going to go too in depth, but I'm going to give you a rough outline of, roughly what happened in the first episode, and my thoughts. But it's about a fella. His name's Atticus. Oh Christ, I can't remember his surname. Atticus, whatever. And he gets a letter from his dad that's very mysterious, talking about some mystery, some secret involving their past and their family and where they've come from, and something about them. So this guy gets the letter from his dad, and he goes to visit his uncle and tells him about this. And there's a back and forth between the uncle. There's a few little bits where Lovecraft, this guy, this main character Atticus, he's a fan of Lovecraft. There's a lot of what was I going to say then? I was going to talk about there's a lot of racism in this show. It's again, I don't like the fact that they're really pushing the racism thing, and I don't like it. Luckily, there doesn't seem to have been any mud throwing too much at Lovecraft directly. But the show is obviously set in the 60s in America, and I mean, I don't even know. I'm guessing it's portrayed correctly because they show little things about, black people have got to sit at the back of the bus and all that stuff, which is obviously horrible shit. I'm sitting there sort of cursing at some of these white characters that are being racist because, it's just fucking out of order. But I'm guessing it's very accurate to how it was back then. So there's a lot of racism shown in the show. Christ, have I diverted then? Hold on, I was talking about the bloody the synopsis for the show, weren't I? I've got so many things buzzing around my head about this show. Anyway, where did I get to? Yeah, anyway, the guy likes Lovecraft, and he's reading. He sees a book, a Lovecraft book, The Outsider, on his uncle's shelf, and they suddenly get talking about Lovecraft, and it turns out when he's reading this letter that came from his dad to his uncle, his dad mentions Arkham, Massachusetts, which is a good little nod towards Lovecraft. And I sat and I thought, wow, so Arkham's going to be a real place. And then the uncle mentions that Lovecraft based Arkham on Salem, Massachusetts. I think that's in Massachusetts, is it? I don't know. And then he reads the letter and he says, that's not Arkham. He says, that's not a K, that's a D. And it turns out the place they're looking for is called Ardham. So they set off on a road trip to find this place. They have a lot of things happen along the way in different towns, cities, whatever. A lot of, again, like I diverted earlier, so much racism. It's ridiculous. If it was genuinely like that, it's just fucking disgusting. But you know what I mean? I don't know. I assume it was like that. I've heard a lot of talk about that it's set in Jim Crow America. I don't know I don't even know how Jim Crow was, but maybe he was. I don't know. I ain't going to speculate. Maybe I'll go and look it up after this. I should have done it beforehand, but I didn't. That's how professional I am. Anyway, yeah, so they're going along the road trip. They encounter lots of horrible racism along the way. Some real pricks, police, sheriffs, firemen, just town townspeople, horrible people. Um, and eventually they get to this place. Now, the uncle says this place, Ardham, is not hasn't been in the sort of on the maps and in the local. It hasn't been known of. It's slipped out of all sort of knowing for the last 200 years, and he pinpoints it at a place called Devonshire County or something like that. So they head for there. Um, and they get there and they have some real trouble with the police, sheriff. They, some quite good action moments in it. Some quite good action moments where they get chased out of a little town by a fire truck and some of the locals. And this bit with there's quite a bit of tension in this bit with the sheriffs near the end, where they have to get out of the county by sundown for some reason. I didn't actually cotton on to what would happen at sundown, but I'm guessing they could just, I don't know, maybe there was a rule about black people being out after the sun goes down or something like that. If that's a thing, again, that's fucking ridiculous and shit. And I'm glad things don't exist now. Although if you listen to some of these SJW pricks, that sort of these lefty pricks, if you want to call it left and right, the left and right paradigm, that try and portray the fact that America or the world is as racist as it's ever been. It's just such a load of bollocks. So it's not. But obviously the racism that is portrayed in this show in the 60s, and if it's true, is horrible. There's no question about that. But it certainly ain't like that now. So anyone that thinks that can go fuck themselves. Anyway, where do we get to? Yeah, they have to get out of the county by sundown. So they're getting chased by the sheriff. There's quite good tense scenes there. That really sort of sucked me, and I got really got involved in that bit. Anyway, they do get captured by the sheriffs, and what I forgot to say was actually, because this is leading right into the end bit now, the end showdown. But what I did like about this show, there's a real good. I like this mysteriousness of, he's got a secret about his family, and there's something. He's obviously. It made me think, but the first thought I had when he was talking about that was obviously like Shadow over Innsmouth, and various other Lovecraft stories where, there's some sort of horror going on. It turns out that the main character is a part of that family, and he's, like in A Shadow over Innsmouth, where it turns out that he's a member of the flipping. I can't remember the name of the family now, but he's involved in it, and like in the film Dagon as well, if anyone's seen that, which was based, it's sort of a take on Shadow over Innsmouth, but they call it Dagon for some reason. I don't bloody well know why. That was a Stuart Gordon film. Fuck me, I've diverged again. Anyway, where did I get to? The things I liked about it. Yeah, I liked the mysteriousness, and I liked the mysteriousness about this this county, Devonshire County, where they call it, that used to be Ardham County. And I like the mysteriousness surrounding that, because they're heading toward it, and it's obviously this place of great mystery, and I'm guessing we're going to find out some great dread and some weird shit going on there. And I really like the sort of tension surrounding that. And I like the characters. I like all the main characters. They're pretty good. The main character, I think his name's Atticus. Is it Atticus? Have I read that somewhere? Cross, I just finished watching it and I don't even remember. Anyway, I like him. He's pretty cool. So anyway, they get captured by these sheriffs, and they've got them pinned down on the floor in the middle of a forest. Suddenly, there's all these weird noises, all from around them in the forest. And like one of them says it's wolves, and the other sheriff's like, no, that ain't fucking wolves, no way. And suddenly these sort of like, they're sort of like, what are they like? They're sort of like a cross between, it's sort of like a cross between the terror dogs out of Ghostbusters and sort of like almost like a bloody what's that big plant in what's the film with the big plant? Seymour. Oh bloody hell. A Little Shop of Horrors. Little Shop of Horrors. What's it called? That thing. It's almost like they've got the face and the mouth of that, but they're like running around on the body of the terror dogs from Ghostbusters. Um, One other thing, right? They mentioned Shoggoths in the show when they were the two of the main characters were talking about Shoggoths, and I've got a horrible feeling that these dog animal type things that are chasing around in the forest, yeah. Because did I even mention? Yeah, there were these sounds in the forest are these like things, dog, terror dog, plant, things. They're not plants, but you know what I mean. The way their mouth opens, it's oh Christ! Anyway, it's quite. By the way, it's late here. I've just been sitting and watching it, and I'm knackered, and I just thought, well, I need to talk about it now because I don't do that often enough. I'll leave it a few days, and the memory isn't fresh in my mind, so I'm doing it now, and it's very late. Anyway, these dog things, these monster things, they start attacking the police, and they kill lots of them, and they chase the main characters run into this barn, and get safe in there. But then one of the characters has to run and get the car. But anyway, one of the sheriffs has got his arm bitten off by these things, and it turns out that he's turning into one of these things. So it's almost like a zombie vampire type thing. You know what I mean? And also these things, these monster things don't like light. But my concern here is, right, you get a few little eclipse views of these things, and when they have a close up, you can see there's all these little eyes all over their body. And I've got this worry that these things they're gonna try and pass these things off as Shoggoths. Now, anyone that's read at the Mountains of Madness or any of the stories or seen some of the old drawings of on the front covers of books like the Mountains of Madness, or even anyone like fan art, they've got a fairly good idea of what a Shoggoth looks like or should look like, and how it's described. And these things, they ain't it. They're like dog animal things, but they've slapped all these little eyeballs all over their body, these little eye things. And I'm sitting there watching it, and it's good. It's a good bit of action and a little bit of tension, but it's just not Lovecraftian horror in the slightest. This bit, it's just like a standard film running around the forest getting chased by a monster, and it's just not Lovecraftian in the slightest. There's no talk yet of extra dimensional things, or I mean, I'm hoping you get further into the series and this Ardham town or whatever it is, is going to be some kind of gateway, or something. But it's just so. There's nothing cosmic horror really about it at the moment. Nothing Lovecraft. Well, I mean, like in this horror segment, it's the first real horror bit in the film where there's something otherworldly, monstrous but there's. I might be wrong. They might be wrong, and they might not try and pass these things off as Shoggoths. But it just, I don't know. They ain't Shoggoths. And if they try and pass them off as Shoggoths, then they don't know what they're fucking doing. But anyway, it's not really scary. There's not really that much horror in this show. There's a good bit of mystery that does bring a bit of. You get this little twinge of dread. You do get that. Hopefully, it'll build on it. But for a horror show, a horror series, it really isn't. There's nothing scary about it yet. That's pretty much all I've got to say about it at the moment. Minute, when I'm trying to say that, yeah, that's all I've got to say about it at the minute. Um, it's, I'm going to keep watching it. It did enough to keep me, wanting to come back for the next one. But they're going to need to really step up their game if this is to be a true horror series. And I really want to see some dread brought into this of cosmic dread with such a there just needs to be more build up of this and tension with this horror rather than just these animals come out of the forest and start eating people. That ain't the kind of horror I want to see. I want to see some real cosmic dread with huge meaning for mankind, humankind, our dimension. I want to see. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but there needs to be more to it than just this, and hopefully there will be. But I think that's all I've got to say about it. So yeah, check it out however you can, and maybe I'll do. I probably will end up doing a video for every episode, providing it isn't shit, and I'm providing each episode. If each episode gets a bit better and there's more to talk about, I'll probably review every single one. But yeah, they've got a little bit of work to do yet if they want to, if this is to be considered in any way Lovecraftian. So there you go. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Thanks for listening. If you did, if you didn't, no worries. All right, see you next time. Cheerio.